Eisler goes beyond the limit. Marshall's quickly at hand as Mike Kaczynski, the first of many East Germans in this race. Good distance proof that the former East Germany's always been strong in motorbike events. Gernot-Pilz finishes the easy part. Now the battle against the mountain. And don't laugh at him, he'll throw his bike at you. Günter Rödl surpasses expectations on his way up the hill. Our cameraman stationed on the top part of the hill isn't prepared for him, going way up to the 158-metre mark. Rödl for Germany, 158 metres. That's a distance that will go down in Rachau's hill climb history. In the German-Austrian duel, the Germans lead 1-0. But for the next few riders, it's not quite so easy. Manfred Kraml takes a tumble. Walter Mumanik almost keeps it at the point of balance, but not quite. Watch out for that bike. Spectacular headgear down in the valley as Klaus Vetter, the Bavarian, part of the 10-man strong team from Zimmerer Husqvarna. Vetter steps away from his bike, but it follows him back down. Meanwhile, the spectacular Austrian Christoph Stolz has a riding style that brings a smile to the faces of anybody who sells spare parts for motorbikes. Well, you can shade your eyes, but Stolz doesn't give up. And with his style, he drives deeper and deeper into the hearts of the spare parts men. 8 out of 10 for style. This is Peter Jürgstal, a motocross rider from Carinthia. Started in the junior championship, has the modest goal of becoming the Austrian national motocross champion. Impressive on his way up, and even on the way back. He's followed onto the hill by Mario Rinaldi, the 4-times World Enduro champion, 3 times second in the title. The Italian's come directly from a race in Hungary and only has a 250cc along with him. Not really enough power for this sort of test, but his performance proves he's a class rider. And the crowd really appreciate that. Meanwhile, Martin Kell, a German, finds a novel place to park his Husky. Andreas Sixtel looks like he's going to run out of steam, and then the bike decides to send him on his way back down. And perhaps this one's a trumpet voluntary. Ortwin Bugle, the 53-year-old Austrian veteran. But it doesn't quite work out. Spectacular. A few more meters and the man from Styria would have been back on the starting line. He could even have got a negative distance on the hill climb by the bike going back across the finish line. Well, let's see a replay of that. The bike hits that tree stump still under full power and flies back down the slope. He's lucky as far as damage goes. Repairs for the handlebars, lever, light switch are only going to come to about 130 pounds. It's amazing how the plastic parts of these bikes often prove indestructible. So sometimes a shunt like this isn't as bad as it seems. Next onto the hill is Johann Vetter, another German. And once again he proves what goes up must come down. It's amazing how some bikes recognise their masters. And Stefan Dollhofer tries the Ortvin bugle line. Look out below! But he makes it up to the 115-metre mark, tumbles back to 80, but while Bugle's KTM tended to land on its tyres for most of the time, Dollhofer's Husky didn't. He's going to see that in the bill for the repairs. And those two crashes really have shocked the spectators for a moment. But the action goes on. This is Bernhard Huber, the Austrian, fighting his way up the hill, ploughing up like some heavy-grade elephant and leaping back down like a young gazelle. Huber regains his footing as Maurizio Carminati, the World Enduro Team Champion and World Championship rival for the Farioli team in the 125 class, is now on all 250 like Rinaldi. Fine performance, proof again that the skill of an expert rider can make the most of a 250cc bike. The first hill climb event for the Italians as a course marshal perhaps has an airbag there for protection. The 620cc big grunting 4-stroke KTM of Helmut Myers has power to spare. The trick is putting it to use. If you know how, you can get pretty high up. The motocross rider from Bavaria gets right to the 150-metre mark. And Christian Pfeiffer is following Meisser's track. Not quite as far as Meyer, but at the top of the field, just the same. And there's the other side of that airbag. Wolfgang Krauser gets Honda Dominators as a present, or either that or he has very good insurance. No one else will go to the wall with a 200-kilo road bike. Next on the hill, Ronnie Richter. Well, the commentator on the scene calls that a fantastic jump. From Richter's vantage point, it probably felt like falling off the Matterhorn. Again, we see that one in slow motion. You wonder why riders don't get more serious injuries, but most of the riders wear protective chest, shoulder, knee and elbow gear. Besides, the steep gradient actually absorbs a lot of the shock of impact. While you're tumbling, you're slowing gradually. But even so, it's a long way down. This is Urs Keller, trying to keep the front wheel on the ground and the damage within limits. A brave attempt to catch his bike as it plummets past him. For Andreas Ensigers, it's a case of a step-and-go penalty. Meanwhile, it's full steam ahead for Peter Bachler. The rule of thumb, the higher up you get, the more painful the way back down. Don't forget that bike weighs about 120 kilos. But the best of Saturday's training, Michael Krumbock and his acrobatic performance at a 1-in-1 climb. What about this one for style? But now Peter Bachler. again, a bike does the loop over a rider's head. Nico Gangle, another rider, just making it past the 110-meter point, fending off the machine on the way back. Christian Pesrak, howling two-stroke, plenty of power and plenty of grip. The bike does a bit better than its rider. Now it's Peter Bachler's turn. He's already shown that he's got the stamina, and this time he makes it even higher. Right up to the 150-meter mark. And he holds on to the bike. And it's surprising, the riders who've taken some of the hardest falls don't seem to be scared to risk it all again. Andreas Vass, we saw him take one big tumble on Saturday, has another go. Gets to 120 meters, and again takes a tumble. Another star of Saturday, a star of Sunday too. Gernot Pilz from Rachau in Austria. Holds onto the bike, but not for long. Decides to part company and keep it that way. And this is the rich Wolfgang Krause with his Dominator. That poor Honda really has taken a beating in its lifetime. It's a big heavy bike. Next way, Martin Kollau finds a novel way of avoiding a difficult descent. Well, this man seems to have some sort of guardian angel over him. Watch it again in slow motion, a close call. That really does demonstrate a problem of this hill. Watching it in slow motion now, he tumbles off the bike, but that's the least of his problems. Watch for the boulders. The rock pursues him down the hill, just bounces away, grazing his shoulder. And the organisers have planned now to secure stones like that for next year's race. Mind you, for those that don't want to get their bikes down the gravity method, there is an alternative. It's called the wood liner. Normally used to get the timber down off the hills, but it's pretty useful for two-wheel machinery too. That, of course, is if you can get the bikes up there in the first place. Mario Abicic gives you an idea of just how steep that course is. Franz Siegel, another driver, to kick away. The man with the record for the longest flight of yesterday, Ortwin Bugel, has repaired his bike overnight. But starting out on full steam, he takes a bad route and gets thrown off course. It's a pity because at that speed, he could well have beaten the 150-meter mark. Let's take a look at that again in slow motion. Bugel just gets thrown off course, a foot does the business, but it doesn't quite keep him on the route. Now it's the local hero, Karl Fiedler from Deep Mountain Forest. Austrian rider, a lot of the locals know him personally. Hopes are riding on this one. Not bad at all, 131 meters. But now it's enter the Vikings. Martin Kell from the Husky Zimmerer team leads the start line. But at 110 meters, it all goes wrong. The horns bite the dirt. Rachau in Austria, the two-wheel hill climb championship. And now a bit of fun before the competition begins. This Looney Tunes is Johann Steiner. A downhill skier with a difference. He's already in the Book of World Records for skiing on asphalt at 120 miles an hour, being pulled by a Porsche. He's done other daft things too. He once blew up a hot water bottle till it burst, and his profession's a school janitor whose hobby is flying light aircraft. The word kamikaze springs to mind. But Johann Steiner certainly pleases the crowd before the start of the competition proper. Based on the result of the practice rounds, the best 20 are going to get to start last for the first round. The best 20 of that round have another go to decide the winner. Meanwhile, Steiner takes the applause of the crowd. Reinhard Kirchner, the German, the first rider on the hill, setting the mark. This is the one everyone else has to beat, and the mark is 132 meters. Hans-Jürgen Schmidt on the hill, heading for the 122 meter mark, but despite familiarizing themselves with the course during the practice runs, many still have a few problems keeping their descent under control. That is one wrecked bike. Another piece of amazing headgear from the Zimmerer team. Thomas Schade, the Bavarian, wants to show the wild mountain people of Austria who's the boss. The Bavarians out to beat both the Austrians and the Germans. 129 meters, not too bad. The Zimmerer team doesn't take things too seriously, and they're basically out to have a good time. Bike not too badly damaged, makes it the painless way back down the hill. Next is Michael Schött. Schött makes it to 134 meters. His bike goes a little bit higher, but it drops back to 80. We've seen enduro and scrambles riders, now a trials rider. Wichipu Manfred Glanschnik. For the trials machine, this is the best performance in the trial class. 118 meters takes him to victory. Glanschnik takes trial victory for Austria. This amazing machine is Eric Ursitz, riding in the special class, a long wheelbase machine. Lots of experience for the rider and victories in hill climbing events before. Got a good eye for the best route. Moves to the right of the track, looks for a little bit more grip. Now straight lines the gully. And plenty of traction before he steps off, 141 meters. That is going to take him at very least to victory in the specials class. But what about this? A one-of-a-kind two-wheel drive machine. The two-stroke Honda. Karl Schmidinger has won steep slope races in Mölln many times. It's a beauty of a bike, but just a little bit low on power. It runs out of steam at 127 meters. But a superb performance for a two-wheel drive bike. Gottfried Hemlinger, another experienced rider on the steep slopes. Steps off the bike at 137 meters. Mirko Knorr makes it up to the critical point, past 120 meters, but he takes the hard way back. Now it's the 250 machine. Mario Rinaldi, the world enduro champion, will be following Eisler. Eisler is not going to make it very well. He throws the bike at the scenery. But the man they're all waiting to see now is the 250 machine, the Italian, at the bottom of the slope. The tension mounts for Rinaldi. Pulls the bike right back to get the best possible run. A smaller, lighter machine than many of the opposition. Let's see how it does. Fast on the bottom part of the slope. Easy up past the 120 meter point. Sliding when he hits the rocks though, loses speed. And he makes it to 138 meters before stepping back. And next year, the Italian has said he's going to come back with a quick 500 and conquer the hill. Maurizio Carminati, another member of the Farioli team, both Italians on the 250s. He's already secured the 125 class victory. Now the KTM crawls up to the 148 meter mark. That is going to gain him 4th place overall. Manfred Kainz, the Austrian, keeps climbing past 150. It's 158 meters, tying with Günter Rödel's practice run record for the best distance. But that doesn't make him the winner, though, because according to the rule, the best 20 have to compete against each other in a final round. On this run, he only makes 135 meters then, and that drops him down to 7th, but he retains his record. Karl Schmidinger, motocross rider and steep slope expert, lots of know-how takes him to 147 meters. Now it's Alfie Cox, the South African. The crowds love him. He gave fans what they wanted in practice, good distance and a daring descent. 6 times the Roof of Africa rally champion. Won just about everything there is to win in South Africa and around the world. Also on a 250cc. And his expertise makes it to 147 meters, the same as Schmidinger. There's a deciding match between the two. Cox loses, he ends up 3rd overall. Karl Fiedler, the local favourite, made 130 meters in practice. Gives it the gas. Loses it at 132 meters. That'll tie him for 9th with Rinaldi in the final. But Markus Brunbauer is not holding his own against this series of top distance riders. The big 4-stroke kicks him out just short of 130 meters, and he has a rough ride back down the hill. Cheers the crowd, then remembers to look to see where the bike might be coming from. Now it's the indoor motocross champion, Werner Müller from Austria, multiple champion. Superb style, keeps the power on and pushes the bike to 153 meters to take victory in the Rachau hill climbing competition. And of course for Austria in the rival between Germany and Austria. The event will take place here again next year, but either competition will be limited to 150 riders, or there'll be an elimination round on Saturday. Whichever the case, Off-Road Magazine's going to be here to cover it. Werner Müller then, the winner, heads to taste the sweet taste of champagne or a cold beer from the stream. So there we see the results of the 95 competition, the 153-meter run by Müller, taking him to that victory for Austria, with Schmidinger and Cox dual 2nd. The altitude record goes to Manfred Kainz and Günter Rödel from the practice run. Both of those riders well ahead of the rest. Meanwhile, Edwin Bugel, or at least his bike, flew the farthest. Victory overall officially goes to Werner Müller, but perhaps the rules will be changed in future. The winner really should be the one who gets the furthest up the mountain. In the end, though, nobody conquered the mountain. Will anyone ever manage this feat? If so, who?